Hello there, it's 2000 hours in Banjul. We're broadcasting for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. This is the news with me, Fatu Elika Mloshi. First, the headlines. President Barrow congratulates Gambians and the IEC for the peaceful, free and fair conduct of Saturday's National Assembly elections. The Vice President receives in audience the new U.S. ambassador to the Gambia and the country representative of the United Nations Population Fund. The Gambia is hosting the 4th National Human Rights Institutions Forum. Away from home, the largest gas utility company in the U.S. proposes to build the nation's largest green hydrogen energy infrastructure system. Ukraine is bracing up for another Russian offensive in the eastern Donbas region. Well, these are the stories and much more coming ahead in tonight's bulletin. Many thanks for joining us. Welcome to the news in detail. We begin tonight's bulletin with the presidency, where President Barrow has congratulated Gambians and the IEC for the peaceful, free and fair conduct of Saturday's National Assembly elections. He said the successful conduct of the polls is an indication of the country's vibrant democracy. President Barrow made the remarks on Monday ahead of the swearing-in ceremony and inauguration of the 6th legislature, slated for Thursday, 14th April 2022 at 10 a.m. at the National Assembly chambers in Banjul. Here's an excerpt.
The election of diverse political party representatives and independent candidates from different backgrounds is an indication of a vibrant democracy. Yet again, Gambians have fulfilled a vital constitutional mandate in an amicable manner, thus demonstrating that our democracy is thriving. It was another test of the credibility and viability of our institutions and the mechanism and processes we are strongly determined to safeguard and strengthen. To our credit as Gambians, we have got over the event with remarkable success. Fellow Gambians, during the political campaigns leading to the 2021 presidential election and recently conducted National Assembly elections, the citizens of this nation loudly expressed and showed their passion for efficient public service that would improve their lives and livelihoods. They have demonstrated the desire for stability, sustained good governance, and infrastructural development to push the performance of all sectors. It is clear that our people wish to maintain an environment that is peaceful, stable, and secure enough for all citizens, which is one of the top priorities of my government. These aspirations can be achieved much faster if we work as a united force. In doing so, we need to be service-oriented and committed to the betterment of the people, strive to advance and strengthen our democracy, and observe the principles of peace and justice for all. These are essential elements for good governance and progress, which we cannot ignore.
Barrow there. Now to this press release. Meanwhile, in accordance with the provisions of Section 76(1) of the Constitution, 1997 of the Republic of the Gambia, the Office of the President informs the general public that Friday, 15th and Monday, 18th April 2022 are declared public holidays throughout the country in observance of the Christian Holy Feast of Easter. On behalf of His Excellency President Adama Barrow, the Office of the President wishes a blessed Easter feast to the Christian community at home and abroad. Moving on, the head of the ECOWAS Election Observer Mission, His Excellency Mohammed Ibn Chambers, has praised the conduct and outcome of the Gambia National Assembly elections held on Saturday. Speaking to reporters after a closed-door meeting with President Adama Barrow, Mr. Chambers disclosed that the 40 ECOWAS observers deployed across the country attested to the timely, transparent, and peaceful conduct of the vote, which sets an example for the rest of the sub-region. Mamadou Diallo has the details.
His Excellency Mohammed Ibn Chambers led the ECOWAS Election Observer Mission in the just concluded National Assembly election. The team also includes General Francis Behanzin, the ECOWAS Commissioner for Political Affairs, and Baba Gelo, the ECOWAS representative in the Gambia. The ECOWAS mission comprised 40 personnel spread across the country to observe the process and conduct of the election. Speaking to reporters after their meeting with President Barrow, Mr. Ibn Chambers disclosed that the mission met all the stakeholders, including the Independent Electoral Commission, the Inter-Party Committee, and civil society groups, and got assurances that everything was in place for the conduct of a free, fair, and transparent election.
Generally, they opened on time, materials were there, the requisite number of staff, security, and importantly, we also saw that party agents were there. We did not visit any polling station where we didn't find party agents. At the end of the polls, again, we witnessed the counting, which was done very transparently in the open for all to see.
The ECOWAS election observers head praised the process, commending the Gambia for setting a good example for the rest of the world, especially in the sub-region where democracy has been on the retreat.
So what we see here is a good example. Gambia should be proud of themselves. I think at the end of the day, you have given testimony of your reputation as a peaceful people in a peaceful country who have delivered peaceful and credible elections.
He also urged all the political parties and candidates to accept the outcome of the process, adding that any dispute should be addressed through constitutional and legal means. Mr. Chambers finally expressed hope that this election will pave the way for the realization of a new democratic dispensation for the Gambia to enable the country to reap the dividends of democracy.
Going forward, I think there is still some work to do because the last 5 years has been transition. There are some unfinished business. We've discussed it with Mr. President, and he has demonstrated openness and willingness to continue to work with ECOWAS and other partners to advance so that we can, for instance, have a post-German constitution, a new constitution consistent with a new democratic dispensation. We can make progress with national reconciliation and social cohesion so that the Gambia remains one big family of people, so that security sector reform can be advanced. ECOWAS is particularly interested in this and is available to support.
The team also congratulated the President, the Independent Electoral Commission, political parties, and all other stakeholders for the conduct of a peaceful election process. Mamadou Diallo, JRTS News.
Now, the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure, received in her office the new U.S. Ambassador in the Gambia, Sharon Croma, and the country representative of the United Nations Population Fund, Ndairo Sarr. The two officials were at the State House to discuss their plans of partnering with government to enhance their relations. Aminata Isanyang tells us more.
Various diplomatic engagements at the office of the Vice President. The new ambassador of the American Embassy, Sharon Croma, paid a courtesy call on the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure.
I had the honor of meeting Her Excellency, the Vice President, to pay my respects and to tell her that the U.S. government is a steadfast partner in the Gambia's democracy. I'm very proud to be here to represent the U.S. government and to partner with Her Excellency and His Excellency President Barrow to strengthen the Gambia's democracy, good governance, advance human rights, and promote country-led development here in the Gambia.
The ambassador, who arrived in the Gambia recently, looks forward to implementing dynamic programs whilst working cordially with the government of the Gambia and stakeholders.
We have the Millennium Challenge account threshold program here that is working to strengthen the power sector. That is very important to building the capacity of the government to generate electricity so that the private sector can invest and grow and create jobs for the Gambians here. We also will be expanding our program with the U.S. Agency for International Development, working with the legislature, working with the judicial sector, furthering the elections, strengthening, and many other things. As our partnership grows, opportunities exist, and they're unlimited.
Vice President Toure also received the country representative of UNFPA, Ndeiro Sarr, and her delegation, who also tabled various developmental issues during the meeting.
Our 9th country program is going to be centered in the new UNFPA strategic plan, which just started this year. We just passed it in the board last year in 2021 September. And it's all about acceleration and making sure that every country where UNFPA is, we meet the 3 transformative results. And these 3 transformative results are very, very relevant for the Gambian context. So one of them is making sure that we end any unmet need for family planning, because there is, people would like to have it, but they don't necessarily have access to it. Then we want to make sure that we end any preventable maternal death. 0, we don't want any woman to die while giving birth. And the third one is about ending gender-based violence and all harmful practices, including female genital mutilation, female cutting, and gender-based violence in general, including domestic violence. So these are the 3 transformative results that we would really like to continue working with your Excellency and all the partners here in the Gambia.
The Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure, lauded the UNFPA for its continuous partnership and assured the government's unremitting input and constructive engagement.
I want to express here our appreciation to the UNFPA for the great support and contributions they have been making to strengthen the program in the Gambia, working closely with the National Population Commission and strengthening civil society to move forward in dealing with matters that are very critical but very sensitive and very culturally full of cultural sentiments. So we are very pleased to have you here and to say that we are ready to engage with you and to tell you, put in record that the UNFPA has been a very good partner of the government of the Gambia.
According to Vice President Toure, the government of the Gambia will continue to be at the core of issues whilst working closely with development partners. Reporting for Churches News, I am Aminata E. Sanyang.
Now, the Gambia is hosting the 4th National Human Rights Institutions Forum. The 2-day event on the way in Bijilo is organized by the Network of African National Human Rights Institutions, the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, and partners on the theme, Integrating a Protect, Respect and Remedy Approach to Business and Human Rights in Africa. Usman Mane picks up the rest of that story.
The event is organized on the margins of the 71st Ordinary Session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, which is scheduled from April 21st to 13 May 2022. The Network of African National Human Rights Institutions, NANRI, and partners are concerned with the growing number of labor, environmental and other forms of business and human rights violations prevailing in the continent. According to data revealed by national human rights institutions in Africa, gender-based discrimination was the most reported, which stood at 60%, while poor pay and safe working conditions ranked at 58%. Pollution and inadequate regulatory monitoring and protection of the environment is a major bottleneck to achieving the SDGs and Africa Agenda 2063. Thus, attention is now focused on the private sector, where businesses and multinational corporations are violating the rights of indigents. Speaking at the press conference at the sidelines of the forum, Commissioner Mutford Zakaria Wandega of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights explained what the Commission's mandate is in addressing such violations.
The trouble that we've had in most of in most cases has been that our concentration has been that we're only interested in that civil and we were not. You can also seek redress for human rights violations as a result of businesses carrying out their activities. So we are encouraging people to be laying complaints. So we are encouraging people, bring them over to laying commissions, so that at least bring them over to we see what we can do about those particular.
The African Charter on Human and People's Rights, in its various articles, call on states to guarantee full enjoyment of economic, social and cultural, as well as civil and political rights. This has been emphasized by Commissioner Janet Ramatoulaye Sala, Special Rapporteur on the rights of women in Africa. She explained that the state is the duty bearer of rights protection.
But most times we rely on the press. The press will report certain violations and will call attention to those violations. We will get relevant evidence, and based on that, we will pass resolutions. We will send letters of appeals and concerns to states and send letters of appeals, but not only to states. The new dimension is coming out. Violators this and new dimension is coming out. But again, you have to realize that there you have private actors violating. You have to realize the state has to hold those private actors violating. The state has to hold liable and accountable. If the state fails in fulfilling the obligation, it comes back. If the state fails in fulfilling the obligation, it comes back. The violation may be by the instance of a private actor, but the state as the duty bearer must be private actor have taken action. But the state court system must be private taken action in court. The court has to follow due process within a reasonable time frame.
The shrinking civil space and increased reprisals against human rights defenders in the business human rights have also hindered holding violators accountable and ensuring justice for rights holders, which the forum seeks to address. A national action plan is expected to be produced at the end of the forum for national human rights institutions on business and human rights. Usman Mane, GRTS.
The Department of Agriculture has organized a 3-day induction training of its newly appointed extension workers. The objective, as Khadija Tujalo reports, is to orient them on the rules, regulations and ethics governing their work.
Agriculture is said to be the backbone of the country's economy, where extension workers have a key role to play in enhancing and transferring skills and technical know-how with farmers. The Director General, Department of Agriculture, Dr. Sekou Sanyang, reiterated the importance of the induction training, which is meant to expose the newly recruited extension workers on rules and skills surrounding their functions.
Important in the sense that it will give you that opportunity for you to know things that are related to the civil service, and also some of the activities that we are doing at field level. So this is why this training is quite important.
Dr. Sanyang further stressed that discipline and commitment are important in the work of an extension worker.
Since you opted agriculture to be your profession in the future, then you must be ready to serve the farmers. You must be ready to comply on processes, procedures of the Department of Agriculture as well as the Gambia Government Civil Service.
Dr. Sanyang said seasoned agricultural experts and public management officials are lined up to share experience with participants.
We will have resource persons to come and explain the general orders of the Gambia government civil service. The other objective is at least to refresh your minds. I know you have learned some of the things that you are going to be taught of. I know you learned some of them, but we are just going to try and refresh your minds so that you know some of those things, especially the principles of extension. I know somebody just delivered his presentation in that area. As far as we are working with farmer organizations, somebody is going to take you through that process of a cooperative, and also the principles or the best practices of agronomy of rice, especially those who are going into the field as extension workers.
A participant who spoke to GRTS said he is being committed to what he is employed for.
Yeah, of course, I want the job. It's not like I'm forced to apply. I'm ready to serve my nation also. Yeah, ask the directors, yes.
With more than 90 personnel for the last cohort of staff appointed by Department of Agriculture, it is expected that agricultural productivity and food security would be increased to a higher level with the potentials to mitigate poverty. Khadijatu Jallow, reporting for GRTS News.
This is GRTS News at 2000 hours. We take a short break now. The sports and international news will follow right after this. Stay.
It's an amazing offer. AfriMoney just got way better. The threshold for cash in and cash out on your AfriMoney has been increased.
Where it used to be 10,000 per transaction, now it has been increased to 30,000. Meaning, your AfriMoney account, you can now withdraw and deposit up to $30,000 at once.
Cashing in and out just got 3 times easier. For more info, call 777.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back. Now, basketball is one of the sports played in the Gambia, but compared to football, wrestling, or even volleyball, the sport continues to struggle. Factors such as poor administration has greatly affected the progress of the game in the country. But with all this, there are still many young aspiring basketball players dreaming of becoming professional players. Aminata Isanyang caught up with them and tells us more in this report.
Basketball has greatly evolved since its domination by men, with women becoming increasingly involved in the sport in the professional level in leagues around the world.
Right on that basketball court is a group of young girls who are breaking barriers in a male-dominated sport. Basketball, a sport that has little recognition in the Gambia, is an exciting adventure for these girls.
These girls are driven by immense passion to accomplish a unique dream, whilst exhibiting remarkable passion towards its attainment. Possessing a unique combination of speed, balance and vision, Bintu Dambali's desire to triumph in basketball made her one of the country's finest. The budding female star endeavors to overcome different stereotypical notions. Playing basketball in hijab has many questioning her choice amid retaining skills for a sport that requires masculine posture and strength, but social traditions never swayed her choices.
It is really not easy being a basketball player, especially being a female playing in the Gambia as a basketball player, because you face a lot of challenges and stuff like that. But indeed, what motivated me to become a basketball player is that I needed my self-confidence, I needed to focus more, because basketball goes with one thing, which is education and basketball. These two goes together. So I decided to choose this because most of the people believe in that when you are doing sport, you don't do good in school. So which I am trying to, you know, put across everywhere, not even only in the Gambia, but across other countries, that you can do education, including playing basketball, in other hands. And inshallah, I have the belief that I can play up to, go into the internationals and play.
Targeting them at a tender age, these young girls are embracing the venture with unreserved motivation. The sessions also include frequent drills chaired by two passionate young men whose venture in coaching is driven by the passion the girls portrayed.
People see it as a game of boys because it involves a lot of jumping, a lot of contact. It's a contact sport, a lot of physical and stuff like that. So it has been my dream to diversify the game because not many girls play it due to many constraints. And as I was playing, I had few people who motivated me, who trained me and showed me the way. So likewise, when I started playing, when I found my feet and I was playing a little bit good basketball, I saw some of these girls also coming to the court without any guidance. Some of them would just come to see the guys play because they enjoyed the game. They liked the physicality, they liked the principles of the game, but they had nobody to guide them. Why not you show these girls the basics of the game and see how to guide them?
What could have been a difficult task became a much more convenient venture for the coaches, as the girls are diligently cooperating with the instructors.
By the time we start, we still have only 2 girls to 3 girls. But now we see they are coming up. So that's why we started training these young guys from grade 3 to grade 6, these young girls, to show them the fundamental of basketball, how to play basketball. And many of them are interested. Some of them, their parents even bring them here. So we started training them. All these girls start from there, from tender age up to now. They are playing in the National League.
A sport that requires regular practice, these girls apply mechanisms to foil distractions towards their education.
Truly speaking, it did not affect me at all because I was able to plan myself. After school, I go for studies, then by 5, I go for training, then after training, I go home, I make sure I go to bed early. Then I wake up at night and study. That's how I did it. To be frank, at first, I play basketball just to have fun. But the more I went into it, I've been playing for Sarakunda for almost 3 years now. But right now, at this level, I want to play international. I want basketball to become a career for me in the future. I really wanted to go far.
The stereotype attached to women engaged in sports and the deterrence which comes with the lack of resources has bolstered these budding ballers. Bintu and the other players like her have represented the Gambia in international basketball competitions, helping girls to change the narrative. There is little recognition for female basketball players in the Gambia. The progress of Satu Sabali, a German Gambian WNBA player, is an inspiration for most of these girls. Some look up to Jamaat, a Somalian basketball player who has registered an enthralling record in the game. Bintu does not want to spare any effort. She is investing time and energy to adapt to new tricks from her role model, Jamaat, occupying a court with extraordinary energy amongst boys. Bintu's example depicts the future of female basketball players, changing the game into a sport of gender equality in the Gambia.
Despite having little or even no support, these girls are very determined to cope the challenges from veering them off the path of true self-discovery. They are very hopeful that some unique tasks and leaps will help them fill up the global vacuum that the country yearns to fill. Reporting for Justice News, I am Aminata E. Sanan.
A minute there. Now in a bit we'll be back with the international news right after. Welcome back. Now, the largest gas utility company in the U.S. has proposed to build the nation's largest green hydrogen energy infrastructure system. Some hail the move, while others question its cost and environmental impact. Details in the CGTN report.
It takes more than 68 billion liters of natural gas daily to power up millions of homes and thousands of businesses in Southern California. But the nation's largest gas utility, SoCalGas, recently proposed building the largest clean hydrogen infrastructure in the country.
And I think they're understanding that they're an infrastructure company, perhaps more than they are a gas company. But I am here on behalf of all of us, trying to clean our air and deal with the extremes, extreme heat, drought, and wildfires. And we need to move past fossil fuels.
The proposal supports the integration of more renewable electricity resources like solar and wind, while significantly reducing greenhouse gas emissions from electric generation, industrial processes, heavy-duty trucks, and other sectors.
I think the big win here is inexpensive and reliable energy to support the growth of industry and life in California. I think it's great that it's going to have less environmental footprint and less atmospheric CO2 footprint.
According to the proposal, new pipelines by SoCalGas would supply hydrogen to power plants in the Los Angeles area to generate electricity when solar panels, wind turbines, and batteries are not providing enough. And if all goes as planned, Los Angeles could achieve its goal of becoming the first major U.S. city to run entirely on clean electricity by 2035. Although hydrogen combustion doesn't have a carbon footprint, it does generate toxic pollutants like nitrogen oxide, much more than fossil gas, at least with the currently available technology. But scientists are convinced that cleaner and cheaper hydrogen is within reach.
The cost can come down very quickly, from numbers that are maybe $7 a kilogram down to $2, can happen with not that many gigawatts of installed capacity. And by doing that, you can get over the hump, much like solar did around 2010, and then can see continued cost reductions over time that I think will open up a myriad of opportunities to use hydrogen.
The Biden administration has also set a goal to lower the cost of hydrogen to open the way for more clean energy investments beyond California. It is Tian Shan, CGTN, Los Angeles.
Now, Ukraine is bracing for another Russian offensive in the eastern Donbas region. The port city of Mariupol remains a key battleground. Both sides have claimed control. More in the CGTN report.
There's claimed by the Ukraine government here about 10,000. The fighting there has been intensified. It's getting very much a street battle. The Azov division, which are the main holdout, have also made claims of a potential respiratory chemical attack there, but that's completely unverified at the moment. And I have to say that no international team's been able to get on the ground to verify that. Since the redeployment of forces away from the capital towards the east, there's been also intensification fighting around Kharkiv and in the Donbas region. So the whole strategy now, the movement, particularly away from the capital here towards the east, has put significant intensification of the battle, particularly in Mariupol, Kharkiv, and the Donbas region.
And over now to the weather report by the Central Forecast Office. And that does it for the news. But before we take leave of you, here are our top stories. President Barrow congratulates Gambians and the IEC for the peaceful, free and fair conduct of Saturday's National Assembly elections. The Vice President receives in audience the new U.S. Ambassador to the Gambia and the country representative of the United Nations Population Fund. The Gambia is hosting the 4th National Human Rights Institutions Forum. Away from home, the largest gas utility company in the U.S. proposes to build the nation's largest green hydrogen energy infrastructure system. Ukraine is bracing for another Russian offensive in the eastern Donbas region. Well, that's all for now. Stay tuned to GRTS for more updates. I'll be back again at 2200 hours for more. Until then, enjoy the rest of our programs.